When I first got to college, I thought the hardest part would be keeping up with my classes. I was wrong. The hardest part turned out to be living with a stranger. My name is Emily, and I was assigned a roommate named Jenna during my freshman year. At first, I was excited. Jenna seemed cool. She was outgoing, stylish, and always knew where the parties were. We didn't become best friends or anything, but we coexisted pretty well. That was until her boyfriend, Tyler, entered the picture. Or rather, moved into the picture. At the start, Jenna would bring him over occasionally. He was tall, loud, and had this cocky grin like he owned the place. He wasn't terrible at first, just a lot. He would hang around, eat Jenna's snacks, laugh way too loudly at night, and crash on her bed. I figured, whatever, it's college. People are going to have their boyfriends and girlfriends over sometimes. But then sometimes turned into all the time. It got to the point where I couldn't remember the last time Jenna actually slept in our room alone. Tyler was basically living with us. He'd leave his shoes in the middle of the floor, his hoodie draped over my chair, and even used my shampoo once. I know because the bottle went from full to half in just a week, and Jenna swore she hadn't touched it. But the worst part wasn't just the inconvenience, it was how he started making himself comfortable, as if he belonged there more than I did. One night I came back from the library, and Tyler was lying on my bed watching Netflix on my laptop. I froze in the doorway, my stomach flipping. That's my bed, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. Tyler just smirked. Relax, Emily, I'm not hurting anything. Jenna told me you wouldn't care. I glanced at Jenna, who was busy painting her nails on her side of the room. She didn't even look up. Yeah, Emily, it's fine. He's just watching something. Don't be uptight. My jaw clenched, but I didn't say anything. I grabbed my hoodie and left, too angry to deal with it. That was the first time I realized something wasn't just inconvenient, it was wrong. The next morning, I found out Tyler had left crumbs all over my sheets, and one of my pillows smelled like his cologne. I gagged and stripped my bed. I wanted to scream at Jenna, but I didn't want to make things worse between us. After all, we had to live together for the whole year. But things did get worse. Tyler stopped pretending he was a guest. He started keeping a toothbrush in our bathroom, leaving his laundry in our hamper, even taking up half of our closet space. And when I confronted Jenna about it, she brushed me off like I was being dramatic. He practically lives here anyway, she said. It's not a big deal. Not a big deal? I snapped. This is my room too. I didn't agree to live with him. You agreed to live with me, she shot back. And he's part of my life. So deal with it. That's when I realized Jenna wasn't just inconsiderate, she didn't care about me at all. Still, I tried to make it work. I spent more time at the library, in the student lounge, or hanging out in other friends' dorms. I started avoiding my own room because it no longer felt like mine. But avoidance only works for so long. One night, I came back late, exhausted from studying for a midterm. I walked in quietly, hoping to just collapse into bed. But when I flicked on the light, I froze. Tyler was lying on my bed, not Jenna's, mine. His arm was slung across my pillow, his shoes kicked off at the foot of the mattress like he'd made himself at home. My chest went cold. Get off my bed, I hissed, my voice shaking with fury. Tyler sat up slowly, rubbing his eyes like I had just woken him from a nap. Relax, Emily. Your bed's more comfortable than Jenna's. You should be flattered. I saw red. I grabbed the blanket from under him and yanked it hard enough to almost knock him off. Out, now. Jenna groaned from her bed. God, Emily, can you stop being so dramatic? It's not like he was doing anything. He was in my bed, I yelled. My heart was pounding, my hands shaking, and for a second I thought I might actually scream until someone came running down the hall. But instead, Tyler swung his legs over the side and stood up, smirking as if I was the one being ridiculous. Fine, chill, he said, grabbing his phone. But as he brushed past me, he leaned down and whispered in my ear, "You should loosen up. Might make things easier." His words sent a shiver down my spine, not the good kind. The slimy, unwanted kind that makes your skin crawl. I didn't sleep that night. Instead, I sat at my desk, staring at the wall, replaying everything in my head. It wasn't just that Tyler was living in our dorm. It was that he was pushing boundaries, and Jenna didn't care. Worse, Jenna was siding with him, every single time. I started wondering, what if this escalates? What if he decides my things are his to use, or worse? For the first time, I actually felt unsafe in my own room. And that's when I decided something had to change. I wasn't just going to sit quietly and let them walk all over me. But the way things unfolded after that, let's just say, I had no idea how deep this was about to go. Because Tyler moving in was just the beginning of a nightmare I never saw coming. After that night, I couldn't stop thinking about Tyler's smirk and the way he whispered in my ear. It didn't just make me uncomfortable, it made me furious. I wasn't going to let him take over my space, but I also knew I couldn't handle this alone. So the next morning, I went straight to the resident advisor, Hannah. She was a senior, calm, and always said her door was open if we needed anything. I knocked, and when she let me in, the words tumbled out of me. My roommate moved her boyfriend into our dorm. Hannah raised her eyebrows. Wait, like permanently? I nodded quickly. He basically lives there now. His stuff is everywhere. He eats our food. I paused, swallowing hard. He slept in my bed last night, without my permission. Hannah's expression changed instantly. That's not okay. None of this is okay. Relief washed over me, because finally someone was on my side. She told me to document everything every time Tyler stayed overnight, every item of his I found in the room, every instance where he crossed a line. She promised she'd speak with the housing office if it continued. For the first time in weeks, I felt like maybe there was hope. But when I got back to the room, Jenna was waiting, and she looked pissed. So you went to Hannah? She snapped the second I walked in. My stomach dropped. How did she know already? Yeah, I admitted. I had to. This isn't fair, Jenna. He doesn't live here. He's not supposed to. You're such a narc, she spat. God, Emily, you could have just talked to me instead of running to the RA like a child. I stared at her in disbelief. I did talk to you. Over and over. And you didn't care. Jenna rolled her eyes and turned back to her phone. Whatever. Tyler's not going anywhere. You'll just have to get used to it. That night, I wrote everything down like Hannah told me. The problem was, Tyler seemed to sense I had taken some sort of action, because he started pushing harder. He would turn the volume up on his music when I tried to study, or stretch out across the only chair in the room so I had to stand. He started leaving his dirty socks on my side of the floor, almost like he was marking territory. And then there were the comments. Loosen up, Em. You're kinda cute when you're mad. If you want me gone, you'll have to make me. They made my skin crawl. I started locking my laptop with a password, hiding snacks in my backpack, and showering at weird hours just to avoid running into him in the hallway. Still, he always found ways to remind me that he was there, that this was his space too. Now, one evening, I came back from class to find Jenna and Tyler sitting at my desk, going through my drawer. My heart dropped. What are you doing? I snapped, rushing over. Jenna held up one of my notebooks with a smirk. Relax, we were just curious. You write a lot, huh? I snatched it from her hands, my face burning. That notebook was private, part journal, part thoughts I didn't share with anyone. Tyler leaned back, arms behind his head. She's touchy about her little secrets. I wonder what she's hiding. I wanted to scream. Instead, I slammed the drawer shut and said, "Stay out of my stuff." Jenna rolled her eyes again. God, Emily, don't be so dramatic. You're making this way bigger than it is. But to me, it already felt huge. My room wasn't just invaded, it was hostile. And the worst part was, I was outnumbered. No matter what I said, Jenna and Tyler laughed it off, like I was the crazy one for expecting a dorm room to be shared between just two people. The breaking point came a week later. I came back from a late study session, exhausted, and walked in to find Tyler shirtless, sprawled across Jenna's bed. Jenna wasn't there. My stomach twisted. Where's Jenna? I asked cautiously. Tyler grinned. Out with friends. She'll be back later. I froze by the door. Then why are you here? Because this is my place too, he said smoothly. Don't you get that by now? My pulse quickened. No, it's not. You don't live here, Tyler. He stood slowly, closing the space between us. His smirk never faded. But I could. For the first time, I felt real fear. I grabbed my backpack and bolted, not looking back until I was down the hall, breathing hard. I slept in the study lounge that night, my hoodie pulled over my head, the fluorescent lights buzzing above me. The next morning, I marched back to Hannah and told her everything, every invasion, every comment, every threat. She looked horrified and promised to escalate it to the housing office immediately. But when they called Jenna in, she put on the performance of a lifetime. She cried, saying Tyler had nowhere else to go because his roommates in his off-campus house kicked him out. She insisted he was harmless, that I was just exaggerating because I didn't like him. And Tyler? He played the victim perfectly charming, smiling, saying he only stayed over because Jenna begged him to. The housing office didn't kick him out. They issued a warning. A warning. That night, Tyler leaned against the doorframe of our room, grinning at me. "You tried, princess," he said softly, "but I'm not going anywhere." And that's when I realized, if I wanted him gone, I'd have to find another way. Something he and Jenna wouldn't see coming. After the so-called warning, everything shifted. Jenna treated me like I was the villain, the tattletale who tried to destroy her relationship. Tyler acted smugger than ever, strutting around the room shirtless, using our mini fridge as if he paid for it, even borrowing Jenna's key so he could come and go when she wasn't there. I felt trapped in my own dorm. But while they thought I was broken down, I was plotting. I started keeping meticulous records, photos of Tyler's shoes lined up by the door, screenshots of texts Jenna sent me admitting he was staying full-time, even timestamps of when I found his stuff in the shower, caddy. Every detail, I wrote down. My plan wasn't just to go back to the housing office, it was to have undeniable proof. Still, living like that took its toll. I was constantly tense, on edge. One night, I woke up to the sound of whispering. At first, I thought Jenna was on the phone, but then I realized it was Tyler. He was sitting at my desk, whispering into his phone while flipping through my binder. My blood went cold. "What are you doing?" I demanded, sitting up. He turned slowly, that crooked grin spreading across his face. "Relax, Emily. Just borrowing some notes. You're such a good student, you don't mind sharing, right? Put it back," I snapped, my voice shaking. He did, but not before winking and saying, "You really need to loosen up." I didn't sleep the rest of that night. By the next day, I was running on caffeine and nerves. I told Hannah what happened, but she sighed, almost helpless. "Without concrete evidence of him threatening you or stealing, it's just your word against theirs." That's when I decided I'd get concrete evidence. I bought a cheap camera online, the kind you could disguise as an alarm clock. I set it up on my dresser, angled toward the desk and the beds. Every time I left the room, I turned it on. At first, it captured small things: Tyler grabbing snacks from my drawers, him tossing his clothes on my chair, Jenna rolling her eyes when I wasn't around. But then one evening, I hit gold. I had gone to a group study session and left the camera running. When I reviewed the footage later, my stomach lurched. Tyler wasn't just making himself at home. He was actively going through my things. I watched him pull open my drawers, flip through my notebooks, even sniff one of my sweatshirts. My skin crawled watching it, but at the same time, relief washed over me. Finally, proof. I downloaded the video to my laptop, backed it up on a USB drive, and sent a copy straight to Hannah with the subject line, "You said evidence." Here it is. She called me the next morning, her voice tight. "Emily, I'm so sorry. This is serious. I'll make sure the housing office sees it immediately." For the first time, I felt like I was winning. But when I returned to the dorm later that day, the air was heavy. Jenna was sitting on her bed, arms crossed, glaring at me like I was the enemy. "So you're spying on us now?" she snapped. My stomach flipped. "What?" "Tyler told me you've been recording him." "That's illegal, Emily." My pulse pounded. How did he know? The camera was hidden. Unless he found it. Panic rose in my chest, but I forced myself to stay calm. "You're the one breaking the rules, Jenna, not me." "God, you're insane," she spat. "No wonder you don't have any friends." Her words cut deeper than I wanted to admit. I grabbed my bag and left before I said something I couldn't take back. That night, I got an email from the housing office. They were scheduling a formal hearing with Jenna, Tyler, and me present. The idea of sitting in a room with them made me nauseous, but I knew this was my chance to finally get rid of him. The day of the hearing, I walked in with my evidence: neatly organized photos, notes, the USB with the video. Jenna was already there, clutching Tyler's hand, eyes red from fake tears. Tyler looked as smug as ever, leaning back in his chair like this was a joke. The board of 3 administrators started the meeting, asking me to explain my complaints. I laid it all out: the constant presence, the invasion of privacy, the threats, and finally, the video. I slid the USB across the table, my hands trembling. One administrator plugged it in and played the footage. The room went silent. Jenna's jaw dropped. Tyler's smirk faltered for the first time. When the video ended, there was no denying it anymore. "This is a clear violation of housing policies," one of the administrators said firmly. "Mr. Tyler has no right to be living in the dorm, let alone rifling through another student's belongings." For a second, I felt triumph bubbling in my chest. But then Tyler leaned forward, his eyes glinting with something dangerous. "You think this is over, Emily?" he muttered, low enough that only I heard. "You have no idea what you've started." My blood ran cold, because in that moment, I realized he wasn't just going to walk away quietly. He was going to fight back. Part 4. After the hearing, the administrators told Tyler he was banned from the dorms entirely. They gave Jenna a stern warning and reminded her that if he was caught again, she could lose her housing privileges too. I should have felt relieved. I should have celebrated. But instead, I felt a knot in my stomach that wouldn't untangle. Because of the way Tyler looked at me before leaving, that smug grin gone, replaced with something darker. It wasn't over for him. Jenna barely spoke to me afterward. When she did, it was full of venom. "You ruined everything," she hissed one night, slamming her books down on the desk. "Tyler had nowhere else to go, and now he's basically homeless. That's not my fault," I snapped back, my patience finally wearing thin. "He broke the rules. He invaded my privacy. He made me feel unsafe in my own room." "You're such a drama queen," Jenna muttered, rolling her eyes. But I noticed her checking her phone constantly, biting her nails more than usual. She was nervous too. A few days later, I found out why. It started with small things, my textbooks disappearing and then reappearing in strange places, like the bathroom. My phone charger gone one day, back the next. Then my email inbox started filling with strange messages from unknown addresses. "Snitch, bet you think you're smart. Watch your back." My hands would shake every time I opened a new one. I told Hannah, and she promised to follow up, but unless we could trace it directly to Tyler, it was just harassment in the dark. But I knew it was him. Who else would do this? Things escalated quickly. One night, as I was walking back from the library, I heard footsteps behind me. At first, I thought it was just another student, but when I turned the corner, I saw him, Tyler, leaning casually against a lamppost, as if he'd been waiting. My chest tightened. "What do you want?" I asked, forcing my voice not to shake. He smirked, stepping closer. "Just checking in on my favorite roommate. You're banned," I said firmly. "If you're caught here, yeah." He cut me off. "You think I care about the rules? You think you can ruin my life and just walk away?" My legs itched to run, but I stood my ground. "I didn't ruin your life, Tyler. You did that yourself." His smile faded, and for a moment, I saw the real anger underneath. "You're going to regret this," he muttered before walking past me into the shadows. I rushed back to my dorm, my hands trembling so badly I could barely swipe my keycard. That night, I barely slept, jumping at every sound. By morning, I decided enough was enough. I printed out the emails, added them to my evidence pile, and went straight to campus security. They listened, took notes, and promised to increase patrols. It didn't make me feel any safer. Jenna, meanwhile, acted like nothing was wrong. She kept sneaking Tyler back in, even after his ban. I knew because I'd come back late and hear his laugh muffled through the door, or see his jacket draped over her chair. Every time, rage bubbled inside me, but confronting her did nothing. She just shrugged, saying, "You can't control my life, Emily." Then one weekend, everything came to a head. I had gone home to visit my parents for 2 days. When I came back Sunday night, the room felt off. At first, I couldn't put my finger on it. Then I noticed my dresser drawers slightly open. My laptop was on the desk, but it was warm, like someone had just used it. My heart pounded as I opened the lid. Files were moved around. One of my essays was gone. In its place, there was a blank document titled "Nice Try." My stomach dropped. Tyler had been in here. Not just in here on my computer, in my files. Violated again. I turned to Jenna, who was sitting on her bed scrolling her phone. "Did you let him in here while I was gone?" I demanded. She didn't look up. "Maybe. What's the big deal?" "The big deal?" My voice cracked. "He's banned. He went through my stuff again." "This isn't just a big deal, Jenna, it's dangerous." She finally glanced at me, her eyes sharp. "You think you're so perfect, Emily. You act like a victim. But really, You just want control. You don't get it. Tyler's not going anywhere. He loves me. And I love him. I stared at her in disbelief. Love? Jenna, he's toxic. He's ruining both our lives. But she just shook her head, turning back to her phone like the conversation was over. That night, I couldn't stop shaking. My dorm wasn't safe. My roommate was against me. Tyler was escalating. I felt completely cornered. Until I had an idea. If the housing office and campus security weren't going to protect me, I'd have to take matters into my own hands. And I knew exactly where to start by turning Tyler's arrogance against him. I didn't sleep much that night, but for the first time in weeks, I felt focused. Tyler thought he was untouchable, smarter than me, smarter than the system. But arrogance makes people sloppy, and I was done playing defense. I needed him to expose himself so completely that not even Jenna's tears or his fake charm could save him. The next morning, I started with a bait. I left my laptop on the desk, logged into a fake email account I created under my name. In the drafts folder, I accidentally left a message half-written that said, "Finally, I'll show everyone what Tyler's been doing. Can't wait until Friday when I tell the board everything." I knew he wouldn't resist. I also made sure my hidden camera was rolling again, this time with the lens disguised inside a stack of textbooks. Then I left for class. My stomach churned all day, but when I came back and checked the footage, my gamble paid off. There he was, Tyler, entering with Jenna's keycard, walking straight to my desk. He opened my laptop, read the fake draft, and started typing. I watched on the video as he deleted files, tried to access my personal folders, and finally sent himself a copy of one of my essays. But the best part, he spoke out loud as he worked, muttering things like, "That'll teach you, Emily, and you'll regret messing with me." My heart raced. This was it, the proof I needed. I copied the footage immediately and marched to Hannah's room. She gasped when she saw it. "This is undeniable. We'll take it to campus security right now." Within hours, the administrators called me back in. This time, Jenna and Tyler weren't smiling. The video was played in front of everyone. Tyler breaking in, tampering with my laptop, threatening me. Jenna's face paled. Tyler's jaw clenched, but he didn't say a word. The administrators didn't waste time. Tyler was permanently banned from campus, effective immediately. Not just the dorms, everything. He was escorted off by security that same day. As for Jenna, she was given a choice: find new housing off campus or agree to switch dorms and accept a disciplinary mark on her record. She stormed out in tears, glaring at me like I had destroyed her life. But for the first time, I didn't feel guilty. I felt free. When she finally moved out, I stood alone in the room, looking around at the silence. No dirty socks, no mocking comments, no smirks from the corner of the bed, just peace. For weeks, I had lived in fear, waiting for the next invasion, the next cruel word. And now, it was over. My new roommate, Sarah, moved in a week later. She was quiet, respectful, and actually laughed with me instead of at me. We decorated the room together, shared snacks, and even pulled the occasional late-night study session. For the first time all semester, I felt like I actually belonged. Looking back, the whole ordeal taught me something I hadn't realized before. Standing up for myself doesn't make me difficult or dramatic, it makes me strong. People like Tyler thrive on intimidation and silence. Once I found my voice and used it, he had nothing left. And as for Jenna, I heard through the grapevine that her relationship with Tyler didn't last. By winter break, they weren't even speaking. Part of me felt sad for her, but mostly I hoped she learned what I had. Sometimes the people you defend the hardest are the ones who will destroy you. My story didn't end with me as the victim. It ended with me reclaiming my space, my safety, and my peace. And that was worth every fight along the way.